If the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say this was their finest hour.
We stand for Queen,
country, and video games. BRB UK.
Worse teeth,
better accents. Hello, and indeed ahoy hoy, and welcome to episode 304 of BRB UK. I'm Dan, I'm back. Everything was in a box last week because I've just moved house. That's why I wasn't there. But I'm also joined...
How is your new house, Dan?
I don't know. Who are you? I haven't introduced you yet. You don't exist. You're... No, get back in... Schrodinger's Tim, get back in your box. Back in your box.
You don't know what question I'm about to answer.
Oh, I think I know what it's gonna get. I don't know what question. Christ, Tim. That's Tim. I'm not going to entertain this anymore. Just say hello, Tim. Tim, hello.
Tim.
Oh, very good. Okay. Now, quiet now, Tim. Back in your corner.
How is your new house, Dan?
No, back in your corner.
Okay.
Back in your corner. We'll talk about my house move after I've introduced the next person. All right? Okay. Sit. Sit. Good, Tim. Good, Tim. And we're also joined by, not Coleman this week, because he's off being an international secret agent per usual. We've got Diarmuid, the pride of Ireland. How are you doing, sir?
Not too bad. How are you?
Well, knackered.
Yeah, from all the moving.
From all the moving.
Was it to a new roundabout?
Well, no, I don't. Just because I live in Slough, I don't live in a roundabout. There are many roundabouts dotting the environs of Slough. It doesn't necessarily mean I live in a roundabout. I'm not like a womble, all right?
but there's a new one near you.
There is actually a very nice roundabout near. The quality of roundabouts in Langley Village is considerably greater than I'm used to, which is nice. It's even got a floral display in the middle of it and a sign. Clearly it was the Millennium Roundabout. That's how Slough celebrated the Millennium. It turns out was building a new roundabout. Who'd have thought?
I have a question, Dan.
Yes, Timothy.
Is your new house haunted?
No, it's new, which means it's not finished very well.
Haunted by the builders that were there before you.
Well, quite, exactly. I mean, who needs... tiles, but they work best when cracked.
Right.
Damp proofing, entirely optional, apparently. Yeah, so it's been... being a grown-up and owning a house has been all kinds of fun.
Yeah, no, welcome to the club. It's great.
Yeah, but you've never moved, have you, Tim?
Well, how do you think I got here?
Well, no, obviously you weren't born there, but you haven't moved for years, have you?
Well, that's what happens when you buy a house, Dan. Now you can get used to it.
No. Because I'd imagine I'm probably going to move in 5 years' time or so, ish. I'm guessing,
right?
Assuming the whole world doesn't go to crap with bloody Brexit.
Yep.
And my house is then worth 3 pence.
So you're not going to move then? Okay.
Well, who knows? Who knows?
Optimism.
I know, right? But all I can say is fixed rate mortgage, hell yeah. Anyway, this is the middle-age podcast that you've grown to know and love. Video games, chaps.
Yeah.
Video games. Talking about video games using someone else's words and trying to pass off your own, that sucks, right?
That's bad, okay?
That's bad. Hey, look, we don't even get paid for that. And we wouldn't do that. In fact, we'd never do that anyway, just because we're generally upstanding members of the community. But IGN, shame.
Well, yeah, when you heard about this at first, it didn't sound so bad. When you actually look into it a bit, it's pretty bad.
It certainly sounded pretty bad just from the first bit I heard of it, which was IGN might have nicked some independent YouTuber's review of Dead Cells, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought, that's a dick move. I really hope that's not true for whoever did that. Turns out it was. He got fired. And I think the original video was a guy on YouTube on the name of Boomstick, who is actually, he does do really good stuff. And IGN took a new hire, I believe, and this was this guy's first review for the site, wasn't it?
It was his first video review, but he's been with IGN for about a year. He's been part of their multiple podcasts and other kind of video content, but he was a host of their Nintendo podcast at one stage as well. I think his name is Philip München.
Well, he does what Nintendo don't, and what Nintendo don't is plagiarize, apparently. So, yeah.
But yeah, it was I've watched the comparison video that Boomstick put out, and Like
It's pretty blatant.
Yeah, one of the arguments when this first broke was one of the arguments people were putting out. Well, a lot of reviewers use similar language. Everyone talks about with Dead Cells, Metroidvania, roguelike, all that kind of usual stuff.
I'll give you an example. Rise. Okay, there's only so many words you can use to describe that. It's rubbish. It's a pile of steaming cack. Everything else is just a riff on the same theme. Let's face it.
It's feces.
Oh, look at you.
This side-by-side comparison video was pretty damning.
Pretty conclusive as well. Like, this is definitely... Like, he took sentence structure... He made the same mistakes as the other guy. That tells you all you need to know.
Well, I think you'll find he made one more rather big mistake, which...
Well, yes.
Nicking it off someone else.
But what I liked... Like, he did, obviously, a bad thing. Plagiarizing. That's like one of the worst. As a writer and a journalist, that's one of the worst things you can do. But I thought IGN actually handled it pretty well.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised, I have to say.
Yeah, because they immediately, like, once the allegations came to light, they took the review down, began an investigation, and once the review was finished, they released a statement which basically said that they had let go of the writer, or ended their relationship with him, whatever the hell that means. And then they kind of were in talks with Boomstick Gaming about some sort of compensation or, some way of making it right with him. And they also just apologized for a breach of trust of the audience as well to try and it was just one of those cases where they really couldn't have done much else. Like, they can't go out and look at every other review at the same time and see... Is this plagiarized content, So
yeah, that's not possible. They couldn't have reviewed it that well beforehand to know that it had been, stolen in that way, basically.
Yeah, what it is because I've kind of come across plagiarism because I used to lecture at Imperial College, and obviously I'd set home up because I'm a git. And universities have kind of suites of software which actually check. That's why if you're at uni at the moment, you have to email a PDF or email a Word file. You can't just print it out and hand it in, because all of it gets automatically checked against everything that's ever been published scientifically. And it's amazing what people... it even catches the if you swap a word trick, which we all think is genius, but is in fact completely see-through.
Thesaurus-friendly reviews.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's something I think, whenever... At BRB, we don't get paid for what we do it as fans. But we, Tim, we make it quite clear that we're very grateful for the time of our writers and our podcasters. But the rule is, it's got to be your own work.
Yeah.
And if it isn't your own work and we caught you red-handed, you'd be out in your ear. I'm glad to see that IGN followed suit.
Yeah, you've got to maintain that level of, honesty with your integrity with your audience, basically. So
exactly.
Otherwise, it's not much point, kind of thing.
Yeah. So anyway, good on IGN for doing the right thing, and we're not interested in having another Nintendo podcaster, ex-IGN staff member. So. Do sod off. Talking about plagiarism and stealing things.
Let's steal a story from someone else.
Yeah, exactly. EmuParadise, right? It's EmuParadise.
Is it EMU or Emu?
No, it's EmuParadise. It is the internet's premier shrine to Rod Hull, dearly departed children's light entertainer. And for some reason, it turns out it was hosting a whole bunch of ROMs. Tim, what does ROM stand for?
Read-only memory?
God damn it, I didn't expect you to know that.
Well, there you go.
We'll edit it out. We'll put in some random... we'll put in Tim's response to when you say moist, and it'll just be... and then it'll sound great. Don't worry. We'll fix it in post. No, I've got it. It's really overly moist.
No!
So, EmuParadise. I'm an innocent man. I would never dream of skirting the
downloading some ROMs for video games.
Mate, I've never downloaded anything ever.
No,
never downloaded anything ever.
More fool you.
I know.
You do have Destiny 2 on PC, right? How does that work?
I have no, that was like it was like like how Jesus was just appeared.
It's on 84 CD-ROMs.
You just got it from osmosis from the rest of the world.
Exactly. It was The Immaculate Conception, but in Destiny 2 form is what it was.
Yeah, so this thing, EmuParadise obviously hosted ROMs for much older games, so that people who had emulators could run them on their PCs and whatever else they wanted to run them on. But obviously with Nintendo cracking down more recently and threatening like legal action against sites like this, I think they kind of took the preemptive let's get out of this business before we get sued.
The sensible business approach.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it was like 18 years old or something like that. It was really long.
Yeah.
Older than people who listen to this podcast, many of them probably, which is a sobering thought.
So yeah, they kind of closed it down, and obviously, you know, hosting ROMs that you don't own, you know, that are not your IP, that's wrong. That's bad, okay?
No, ROM, not ROM.
ROM. Anyway, but that's not good. But at the same time, and it's something that we included in the agenda, Rami's tweet, he said, the way he put it was, companies using legal force to shut down emulation sites is the equivalent of burning a library of games history. And it's kind of true that there are no kind of archives of games, or at least very few and not very well known or maintained. Like, we're kind of reliant on games companies to release and keep supporting backwards compatibility for a lot of these devices, rather than having you rebuy the same game over and over and over again. And kind of maintaining a sort of a history of games is, as the game's kind of technology moves forward, is actually getting more and more difficult. So it's one of those interesting kind of conundrums where, yes, hosting the ROMs is wrong, but having the ability to go to a video game student, someone who's learning how to make them, for instance, and basically give them a really old game and say, look at this is what someone created 30 years ago. This is what they were able to do with this crappy spec PC, and they were able to make something beautiful with this. Look at how they did it. Look, study it, rather than kind of looking at like a crappy YouTube video of it, and you don't really feel the game. You don't really feel it in your hands. That kind of, it's kind of sad that it looks like we're going to start losing that if more and more sites follow EmuParadise's example in this case.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because at the same time, I mean, okay, so here's where the problem is. A number of these ROMs, there is still identifiable IP holders. Like, for example, Capcom, Konami, just to name but two. But there are others by companies who have been less fortunate in the years that have followed, where it might be a little unclear who actually owns the IP. And what do you do about that? Can you leave them up until someone claims it? Does there need to be kind of a cross-industry collaboration about kind of, okay, let's find a legal or a legally palatable way or financially palatable way for this history to be preserved? However, you can kind of see it from the other way round.
Yeah, my problem is with this is an illegal way of doing it. Currently, there doesn't seem to be any kind of drive from anybody to do it legally.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is what you would hope someone like the ESA would actually get involved in. Rather than trying to tell us that loot boxes aren't gambling, they should actually go out and say to all the various companies that, you know, they get paid from, and kind of, they can go and say, how about we set up a kind of a central repository where we can keep this video game history and make it available to people like a proper library.
Yeah, and I kind of, you know, obviously it has to be kind of lockouts for, you know, it's got to be older than X number of years, for example. But, you know, I would quite merrily pay, you know, $5 to $10 or whatever the UK equivalent would be in these days that are coming forward, so £4 million, to have access to such a resource. And, you know, they could do something very positive. That could be, you know, kind of any profit made from that could go to charity, for example.
My argument is that the companies that own the original IP should still be free to sell that game and make money off that game, and in terms of like remaking or doing an HD update or whatever it is that, you know, they want to do with that IP. that should be free for them to do that. But that game should become like sort of almost like public domain. And if they can't do something better with that game to make it more like attractive, like no reason if the whole Nintendo collection was up on a PC site where you could download ROMs, I still don't think it would detract from that many people that would want to buy a Nintendo game on the Switch, and they're not even available at the moment, kind of thing. You know, like as much as I understand that the IPs and the games in general should be protected, there does need to be, as you say, like a central kind of organisation that is actually doing something to preserve everything once it gets past a certain age.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm just trying to find what the cutoff is, because certain things, if you don't republish it, that's why you see this on the comic book industry, why they republish graphic novels. It's because if you haven't actively done anything with the IP, it becomes, after a certain time, it becomes public domain.
I think the one tricky bit in terms of the video game industry, though, is the IP itself. The IP alone isn't enough, as in, for instance, like if music goes public domain, you can play that music, digitally on a vinyl player, whatever. Similar with movies, when a movie goes public domain, it's sort of the same thing. But in terms of video games, you have to consider that there's software, but there's also corresponding hardware. So it's a little bit trickier again. That's why I do think it needs to be a kind of a central effort to get this sort of stuff saved for history and for posterity, because it's a lot more complex than other media.
Well, here's a fun little thing, according to Creative Commons and Wikipedia, which is where everyone's brain resides these days. Mathematical formulae will therefore generally form part of the public domain to the extent that their expression in the form of software is not covered by copyright. And bearing in mind, everything is generally logic, so you have to demonstrate that you're using these things in a unique way. You could see how that, that I am by no means trained in law, so that probably is going to be a load of
free games for everybody.
Free everybody. But I mean, there's got to be a middle way that's acceptable. And I think it would be a really it would be a nice goodwill thing to be done, even if it's like accessing it over a service like a kind of remote streaming service like PlayStation Now or an equivalent. If they wanted to control where the actual binary level data was going, where the code was going, if they wanted to kind of put it behind a kind of a streaming platform, I could see that why they might want to do that. But yeah, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way, guys.
Yes.
Got to be a better way. A better way.
We just don't know what that way is.
No idea. Clueless. Haven't got the foggiest, mate. Right, do you know what depresses me greatly, though, chaps?
Old age?
Yeah, that. Having sore back because I'm moving things. That makes me grumpy. I've had it up to bloody here with to-do lists. I have to-do lists. I do not want to see another bloody post-it note with hastily scrawled illegible, hey, do this, hey, go out and fetch this, hey, go out and do this, hey, build this, hey, do that, hey, do you mind getting some food? So the last thing I bloody need in my escapist hobby, where I might sometimes want to be a cowboy,
right,
is a bloody to-do list. And what have Rockstar gone and done? It's Red Dead Redemption 2, shopping simulator. Hey, what we need is you to go down to general store and go buy some beans to keep everybody in the camp happy.
To be fair, like this was the trailer where they were showing some stuff, but not everything, basically, and not missions. So, yeah.
You would think, though, if that was the case, you'd open with that. You'd open with the missions and then do this video maybe later down the line.
Yeah, I guess, they're ramping up.
I mean, it's like this. It's like if they released like a new gameplay trailer for Fallout 4 and they focused all of the initial stuff on the building bit, which is the bit people didn't really like. Like the looking after your gang is a bit of a, like that's the side stuff. That's the stuff that you can delve into if you want to. But the game is the missions and the the activities that you can get to do, the robberies, the heists, the whatever. Starting with this seemed a bit odd.
So generally, the kind of the big touch points they hit on were you have a camp. That's where your crew, your team, your gang, they sleep, play games, share stories. You gamble, you play cards, you sing a song, eat some beans, sing kumbaya. And if you kind of engage with them, if you give them food and supplies, it improves their morale. Presumably, in-game profit in some way will result. You can go hunting, you can go and sell the things you kill or go and make food out of them. You can interact with the world in a way that doesn't involve your gun. And what made me really laugh about this, they went, it was like, yeah, you can, it isn't just your gun you use to interact with the world. Hard cut to somebody punching someone else. It's just like, all right, good, well played. Yeah, it's kind of, it's nice to see that there is kind of an evolving world around you, but actually how reactive or meaningful the impact that has on your game or enjoyment of your game. If it's just a series of fetch quests, that's really going to piss me off.
It's Red Dead Redemption 2 crossed with Undertale.
Yes, there we go. That is an excellent analogy.
You can talk your way out of situations. I'm never able to do that in real life, but you can do it in a video game. Yay. Yeah, I'll put it this way. Like, the gameplay itself actually did look fun.
It did look good, and looks very pretty. I'd love to know what the hell they were running it on, but...
Oh my, it looked really good. Like, I think the video they released was like a 4K version. I'd say it's an Xbox One X or a PC with everything turned on, but officially it's not coming to PC. Is that correct? At least not yet. They haven't announced it.
Ooh, that'd be a very silly move if they didn't.
Because I'm trying to remember if they actually announced... Because even the trailer post they had just said that it was coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. They didn't mention PC. But I need to look back at the video again to see if there's a Steam symbol or whatever their launcher is.
Another bloody Rockstar thing, Bob. What do you call it?
Social club. But like, no word yet on what the online is going to be. I assume that's going to be coming in an upcoming video because they're, as you say, Tim, they're going to be covering a lot of other stuff in future videos.
And they did give a little hint about that. They showed the Deadeye system.
Their trailer's only showing PS4 and Xbox One. I'd be very interested to see what this look. I don't expect it to look as beautiful as it does on something that doesn't have the word Pro or Xbox One X in it.
Well, actually, X doesn't work. Damn it!
No, it doesn't. No. It doesn't work twice. There's two X's in the standard Xbox. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. The trailer claims it was all from in-game footage. So we'll. I've learned to be very, very cynical about such things.
Well, the game is coming out in what, like 2.5 months or something like that. So
yeah, October 26th, I think, is the time.
It would look pretty polished, and I'm not exactly, shocked that Rockstar managed to put together a really good-looking game. But at the same time, yeah, that is probably running on an Xbox One X.
I don't know if I'm going to pick this up sight unseen yet.
Depends how busy I still am with Spider-Man, I guess.
Spider-Man. He can do anything a spider can, which is rubbish if you think about it.
Yeah, spiders are crap.
Yeah, just put him in a bath and be like, Green Goblin!
I can't get out!
How did you know?
Let's not rip off a joke from our own comics podcast, eh?
Actually, self-plagiarism is also frowned upon. You can plagiarise yourself, it turns out. It's like the journalistic equivalent of wanking. It's not good for you, and it will still get you in trouble if anyone catches you doing it. Anyway,
but it feels good. Sorry,
what?
Nothing.
Talking of idiocy, idiot taxes are a thing. It turns out on Amazon UK, because if you are too lazy to use the search functionality on your Switch to find a demo, you can pay 1 pence for it on Amazon. Yes, that's right. You can pay a penny for free Switch demos.
What now? What?
This makes no sense. So not only are you wasting time because you have to go through the whole Amazon thing, when you do go through the whole Amazon thing, all you end up with is a code that you then have to manually type into your Switch anyway to actually redeem it before you can download it. Rather than just opening up the eShop, not paying a penny, and just finding the demo you want. I mean, What? This really is an idiot tax.
It is really a complete idiot tax. It really, really is. And it kind of makes me aggrieved that they're only charging them 1p for because, there needs to be a feedback loop in this, dear Med, is how I view it.
But why do they even have it listed if it's a demo? Like, what?
I don't know, perhaps they just wanted to see if anyone would bite. I don't know. So I'm going to see if we get away with this. Got away with it for 1p. Let's try putting it up to 5p. Now quid.
We need to give Jeff Bezos all the money.
He needs all of it to get to Mars as quickly as possible.
Yeah, he needs all of the money. Well, just as long as if Jeff Bezos having all the money stopped Donald Trump getting money, then I don't necessarily mind. But it is a bit like, really, seriously, people, okay. But it can't even... I just don't... Why? I mean, I'd almost have more respect for him if the email you got from Amazon was an animated GIF showing you how to work the eShop. That would be even funnier. It wasn't a download code. It was a tutorial about go to the eShop. Okay, press this search button here. Now type the name. There we go.
1p, please.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be a penny. So there we go. So you can now spend a penny by getting something for your Switch. So don't do it.
So good.
Don't do it. No, it's not very good, Tim.
Just send me a penny and I'll call you and talk you through how to do it.
That'll cost you more than a penny, Diarmuid.
Actually, damn it. No wonder I'm not in business.
yeah, exactly. That would make, you'd be well below the minimum wage on that, mate. Sorry, buddy.
Oops.
Anyway, right, let's rattle through some announcements since Coleman's not here, so I'm assuming it's going to be me.
Yup.
Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. Excited?
No.
Good. That is the right answer. While on a press tour for an upcoming TV series, Jim Carrey apparently confirmed that he will be playing Dr. Robotnik in an upcoming Sonic movie due November 2019. Do you know who I really would like to see play Dr. Robotnik? Dara O'Brien.
Okay.
Dara O'Brien would make a fantastic Dr. Robotnik.
He actually would.
Yes.
I actually think he would, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And Jim Carrey also confirmed, and this is the worrying bit, it's going to be a live-action role.
But apparently it's, mixed live action and not.
So think those awful Smurf movies.
Yeah, the only thing that managed to do that was Who Framed Roger Rabbit, frankly. If you're not Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you can get out of town, I'm sorry. So, apparently also Ben Schwartz will voice Sonic in the movie, who currently voices Dewey Duck in the DuckTales reboot, and will voice Leonardo in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Fun facts. Well, facts.
He's also, I think, part of Parks and Rec for fans of that show.
Oh, you're right, yes. So, hey, you know what? So, next up in the news, you know what I like to do to celebrate selling 500 million of something?
Make something extravagant?
Yeah.
Make something translucent.
Ooh.
I know. So, Sony are releasing a translucent PS4 Pro to celebrate 500 million PlayStations sold. That's not PS4s. We will get excited. That is PlayStations full stop of all time. So that includes your PlayStation, your PS1s, your PS2s, your PS3s, your PS4s of various flavors, PSPs, Vitas, presumably as well. So that's going to be a 2 terabyte PS4 Pro 500 million limited edition. There is a catchy name. And it goes on sale the 24th of August, priced £450.
Whoa!
A 2 terabyte PS4 Pro, though, that's not too bad.
Terrible.
No, apart from that, you can probably buy a 2 terabyte, 2.5 inch drive for about £100. Slap that in your existing PS4 Pro, and just hide your existing PlayStation 4 Pro so it's out of the line of sight, thereby replicating the translucent effect you were looking for.
This one does look nice, though, I have to say.
Like, there's been 2 PlayStations that I thought actually looked good. This one and the anniversary one.
Oh, wanted an anniversary one.
Yeah.
Oh, I so wanted one of those.
But this one actually does look quite good as well, and it has a little plate on the front that tells you what number out of the 50,000 of them that are going to be produced, which number is yours. So it is an actual limited edition, not just, That's not just a word. That is actually limited.
And to be fair, I mean, it isn't just like clear. It's like kind of a nice dark blue plastic. It's not like kind of horrible see-through white, kind of completely transparent plastic. Well, I'm not sure about the blue and gold theme. But there we go.
You mean not translucent like the Xbox that's sitting behind me, basically? Yeah,
exactly. So if you've got more money than sense and you're all done with buying 1p demos for your Switch on Amazon, that's the thing to get. So also the things that will be priced to go alongside with it is a 500 million limited edition controller, which is going to be 55 quid, which is the normal price for a DualShock 4, as far as I can work out. And also a £78 gold wireless headset. And both of them are going to be able to be pre-ordered online in the UK, presumably from go to your favourite PlayStation place of news for your liking. I have no idea which website you go to find that. Well, you're going to be able to do so from 10 a.m. on Tuesday, the 14th of August. And if you haven't got a decent wireless headset for your PS4, you can do a lot worse than the gold wireless headset made by Sony. They're really good. They've got virtual surround sound in them as well. Really good headset for the money. I think you'd struggle to find a better headset for 78 quid, personally, for your PlayStation. Okay, release dates.
Yep.
Ready? Brace yourselves. Fortnite is now available on smart toilets. No, it's not. It's available on Android.
Android.
I'm sure there's an Android toilet. I'm sure
there
is.
That must be. Yeah.
There has to be one. Whether it can actually run Fortnite, though, is another question. At the moment, this is just available for Samsung phones.
Yes, exactly. So, and presumably, I think it's is it all Samsung Galaxy phones, or is it limited to the relatively high-end ones at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's just a couple of them at the moment. It is going to be on more Android devices later as well.
Yes, so, it's the S7 and above. So, fairly decent, fairly recent Samsung ones, and it's. I have to say, I've dabbled in Fortnite on the iPhone and iOS things. It's a novelty. It's not how you'd want to play it.
Yeah, I've heard similar, but apparently a lot of people in the world do still.
Yeah, I mean the only caveat is that it's not available via the kind of the Android store. You do have to sideload it yourself. So you have to go to a website, you have to download I believe it's an APK.
That's the one.
Look at me. I know all lingo. Don't know what it stands for. And put that on your phone using a USB cable, presumably. So, yes, you have to know how to do that. But most scallywags who want the Fortnite and all the things probably do know how to do so. Cool, so just some quick updates before we delve into what we've done played. God of War on PlayStation 4, a game that I still haven't picked up and played, and I really, really should.
You need to. It's honestly game of the generation for me.
Yeah, I really... do you know what? I might even go and just buy that. Well, I haven't set my PS4 up yet in the new house, so I might do that. Yeah, and just lament at the lack of download speed on for the PlayStation. Because I know for a fact, I must say, one of the lucky things I've had when I've moved is I've now got fibre to the premises.
Nice.
It's so fast. It's ridiculous. It's so fast. So now I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, that the bottleneck is on Sony's end. So I can now incontrovertibly check that. But yeah, so God of War has got a new Game Plus mode coming out on 20th of August, which includes more difficult enemies, new gear upgrades, and the ability to skip cinematics. So presumably just Kratos yelling "boy" at his kid repeatedly. Yep. And Rocket League, the game that just keeps on going. There's a big update coming in the end of August, apparently, that includes changes to the progression system. Now, I don't know enough about Rocket League to actually, I know that you can unlock bits of gear for your car, but I didn't know there was much of a deeper progression system other than that.
It's similar to most online games. It kind of has like your own level. So every match you play, you get a little bit of XP. Currently, like leveling up is actually incredibly difficult because like you get a little bit of XP, and it like even the little bar that shows you how much you are till the next level like barely notches. Like you'd have to put a sticker on your TV every day and play it for hours to actually see any difference. But they're making, like, the changes they're going to make is going to make leveling up easier, probably more frequent, and the rewards you get for it are going to be bigger as well. But this is all kind of tying into the Rocket Pass that they're releasing it like a week later, which is basically like Fortnite's Battle Pass. So it's kind of like it just you unlock it and you pay a little bit of money, and it means that the stuff you unlock is a little bit of higher quality, but you can still unlock stuff for free as well. It's a bit of a mess.
Can you unlock everything that's on the Rocket Pass for free if you grind for long enough?
No, there are going to be premium skins for the cars and rocket trails, I think. They had an update a few months back. I can't remember the details of it.
So it's cosmetic stuff, though, basically.
It's all of it is cosmetic. But there's going to be a lot of free stuff that you can unlock, but some of the premium stuff is going to be locked behind this Rocket Pass, similar to Fortnite. But the fact is, Fortnite is a free-to-play game. This isn't. But it's one way of just, I don't know, hopefully paying for development, because I got the game at no additional cost through PlayStation Plus, which makes me feel guilty with the amount of time I've actually put into it.
Yeah, I mean, do you play it on PC at all, Diarmuid?
I play it a little bit on PC, mostly on PS4, but I've triple dipped. So I got it on Switch as well. So I feel so guilty about getting it for free and putting so many hours into it that anytime they have anything at all, I buy it just to kind of go, here,
yeah,
Psyonix, you have a little bit of my money. You have a little bit of my money.
Look at you making it rain. with your microtransactions. See, 20p, you get 20p. Someone else gets 20p.
Had Batman cars, then they had Batman cars.
All right, that's actually a pretty good. So the Rocket Pass contains like a number of keys, apparently. So presumably you use the keys to.
So you earn crates for free, but the keys cost money. So the fact that if you get the Rocket Pass,
buggers. So you have things sitting in your inventory just waiting to be unlocked that you can't because you haven't got the keys.
Yes. However, there are people who obviously are willing to pay for the keys, but you can trade all items, including keys and crates. So if you have a crate that you really want to open up, you can kind of trade maybe some crates that you don't really care about to someone else in the game for a key. So all of the cosmetics are tradable, or at least most of them are. And
remind me how toxic that made Fortnite again?
Quite.
Yeah, good, lovely. Anyway, hopefully, yes. But the other big exciting bit of news for Rocket League is that cross-platform parties, and by cross-platform, I'm assuming Xbox, PC, and Switch, are coming in September.
Well, PlayStation can cross-platform with PC.
Yeah,
but I don't know if this is going to include them as well.
I'm sure that I doubt they're going to kind of allow those Venn diagrams to overlap. So if you're a PC player playing with a PS4 team, you're not going to be able to challenge people on Xbox One or Switch.
Yeah, agreed.
Good old Sony, aren't you great? Nice to see you're not getting that wonderful hubris that treated you so well in the jump from PS2 to PS3 again.
I really hope this is like a PSX announcement that they're just going to open it up. That would be the perfect place to release that, plus the name changing, plus all of the little things that fans want.
Yes.
One kind of big content drop and it makes them look good.
Yeah, don't hold your breath though, because you'll die of suffocation in this particular case. But yeah, well, here's hoping. So anyway, that's it for the news and release dates and updates and all kinds of other things. So we're going to talk about what we did play. Tim, it's got on the agenda that you have played an iOS game. Now, you don't like iThings.
No, not generally.
So what have you been doing, young man?
I'm an Android boy. But yeah, basically...
That's Android. That's boy with an OI, I take it. Yep.
Alex and I were invited to a launch event for a game called Powerless, and we thought we'd go along and have a look at it, basically.
What is this Powerless game of which you speak?
All being shown off on iOS. It's basically a narrative-driven game where the kind of situation is there's been a coronal mass ejection that has...
Ed, have you been touching yourself again?
No.
That has
not this time.
Out all electronics and, electrics and everything, and knocked everything out, and it's basically putting you in the situation of different people through a series of personas that you then have to kind of negotiate your way through the situations that they're facing and it kind of gives you some empathy for the kind of situations you might be facing if that kind of event was happening, and we were powerless, basically. So I think there's 9 different personas that you can pick from at the start, and first one I picked was a guy called Harry, for instance, and he was like a kind of executive banker type guy, very rich in a restaurant having a drink while he was there, kind of thing, and the incident hit and he didn't really know what was going on, and it tells through his story, and I played him as a complete arsehole and he did all the worst things that he possibly could, kind of thing, and he survived, but not everyone does, and you can kind of unlock other people as you go. It's generally all text-based, and you're just interacting with a series of questions. It's kind of framed in the manner that there's a kind of AI that you're talking to that's kind of taking you through these scenarios. But yeah, not necessarily my type of thing, although funny enough, it's not that dissimilar from the parts when I was talking about Banner Saga last week and you're kind of making decisions in text. Okay, there's the visual side to Banner Saga as well, and there's the combat side, and they both tick those boxes. It reminded me of that in some ways anyway, kind of thing. But as I said, not necessarily a type of game that I'd necessarily gravitate to, so I was kind of grateful that I got a chance to play it just to see, what it was and have a go at it, but not necessarily something that I would have picked up myself just through picking up on the store. And again, not something I necessarily rushed to, but I think it was enjoyable and good for what it was, kind of thing. I mean, and it did make you kind of empathize with the characters that are in those certain situations. It's a game that costs I think £5. So there's no microtransaction stuff in it. There's the 9 characters, and they've all got about, I think, 3 different levels and 3 different scenarios you can play through and try and survive, and that does different things and unlocks other different personas as you go. But the creator of the game did say that she's going to add more people to it as well, and giving my opinion on the game and kind of talking about it there, but I also managed to get an interview, so I'll hopefully slot that in here as well, so I won't go too much into depth in other things. But yeah, as I said, worth having a look for. It's available to pre-order on iOS now, and it's generally coming to other platforms, Android and other stuff in the future, but there's more details of that in the interview as well, basically.
I mean, what it slightly reminds me of, I don't know if either of you guys played Lifeline, which is kind of like a kind of another interactive fiction thing, but it had quite a cool kind of time-based element to it, where if you had an Apple Watch, which of course being a sad fanboy I do, you kind of get messages from the person you're interacting with asking, why haven't you got back to me, why haven't you done this, which actually did make it quite immersive.
Yeah, and this could have done with that level of emergence, kind of because you're in emergency situations and it didn't feel like you were hurried to make those decisions at times, kind of thing. So that's, yeah. But yeah, like I said, interesting to put you in those scenarios and take you through those events. And there was different there was a helicopter pilot that you got to be for a period. There was a doctor who was operating while the power went out.
He should get off his bloody phone then, shouldn't he?
It was a she, actually, Mr. Sexist. But
actually, that is an excellent point. That is that. I'm guessing. Yeah, I'm just going to shut up. And that's Dr. Sexist. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. But yeah, as I said, I won't say we're a bit long on time, and we've got the interview to slot in as well, so I won't say too much about it. But yeah, definitely worth looking out for. A game called Powerless, and we'll slot the interview here and kind of go from there, and then come back with some other games that we have been playing.
Jolly good. Diarmuid.
This week I picked up Overcooked 2 right on the PlayStation 4. And I've only played it for a few hours, so I'm not going to be able to give you a full review. But I will say that the one complaint I really had about the original Overcooked was it was a fantastic couch co-op game, but there was no online.
Okay, so just for those who haven't played the original Overcooked, just kind of run us through what the premise of the game is.
So in Overcooked, you are a chef in a kind of a cartoony world where you have to make food for diners.
Is it South Park?
Yes, just like Chef. Yeah, you even have that sexy voice as well. Although they just squeak around, really. And you and potentially up to 3 of your friends can spawn into this kitchen, and you have to make food for the diners. And so you get kind of menu or food orders appear at the top left of the screen, and you have a certain amount of time that you need to prep everything.
I was thinking, check on samaj, 2 filet fish, and large fries.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
Or in this case, which is new to the game, sushi, for instance. So what you do is you have certain ingredients that are dotted around the kitchen in the most inconvenient bloody places in the world.
Well, you need to have a word with your kitchen porter, mate. That's what you need to do.
Exactly. If you could design a kitchen, it would be much easier. But instead, you have all of these different arenas that these kitchens are in. For instance, one of the ones I played, it was in a hot air balloon, or 2 hot air balloons, actually. And one of them kept moving around the arena. So it made getting the vegetables that were in that other hot air balloon really difficult, because you had to run multiple different places. But like any kind of stressful game that you can imagine like that, for however many characters that you're playing with, whether it's 2, 3, or 4, or even on your own, there's always about 1 extra activity that needs to be done that you can't do with that many people. So you have to kind of manage time and what orders are coming in and what needs to be done now and what needs to be done later. Not only do you have to prep the vegetables or rice or whatever else you're doing, you also have to cook it for a certain amount of time. If you leave it too long, it'll burn, and it takes a certain amount of time to do. So if you're just doing that, you're kind of waiting around a bit. There's also plates, so you have to load up the food onto the plates and deliver it out to a kind of a tray. But then when you take food back in, or when the plate comes back in, it's dirty, so you have to wash it down before you can use it again. All of these different activities have to be managed, and you have to kind of fulfill orders as quickly as possible to give you the most amount of tip. And then the more you kind of tip, the better score you get on that particular level, and then you can move on to the next one.
I have a question, Mr. Diarmuid. Is it basically, though, just more levels with like a few little additions and the online, basically? And I think that's going to be enough to sell it to a lot of people, but is that basically what it boils down to?
Yeah, so far, from what I've come across, so far that's what it is. There's new types of food. So as I mentioned, sushi, there's additional things that you need to do. For instance, some of the sushi requires you to mix fish with flour, and then you have to put it into a mixer before then putting it into a pot to cook it, or some other, or not sushi, but sashimi or whatever, to cook it before you can deliver it out. So they add in a few intricacies into what you need to do, but at the same time, it's essentially the same
thing of yelling at your mates and
exactly. It's the same thing, but to be honest with you, this does feel like one of those cases where if it ain't broke. The one thing that was broke was the fact that it didn't have online. That is now fixed, and it's just like any other online game in terms of like it's really functional. You just press triangle on the main screen, invite your friend in, and suddenly you have a party, and you can go ride around on the food truck to go to the next level and all that kind of stuff. The overworld also has secrets built into it.
Okay.
So there's like switches on the ground that turn on ramps that allow you to go to different areas. So we unlocked a secret area, myself and my housemate, last night, and we went to do one of those. That was actually the hot air balloon one that I was talking about earlier, and that was really bloody difficult. But like it gets incredibly stressful. Like it has a cutesy art style, really nice kind of melodic music, but at the same time you're feeling the pressure. Honestly, you're feeling the pressure. It's incredibly stressful, but it's a lot of fun, and like they didn't have to do much to make it as good as the first one. They just had to kind of keep the same stuff and add new stuff, and they've done that. They've also added the online, which is the headline feature of this version. If you didn't like the previous game, you're not going to like this.
Hopefully the name of the game should give you a clue.
Exactly.
That is the case.
So it's one of those cases where if you like this formula and you want more of it, go out and buy this. It's definitely worth it. I think I bought it for £20 on the PSN. I'm sure you could probably get it cheaper in other places, and there's a physical version that you can pick up as well. So yeah, it's really good, and I'm enjoying it so far. As I said, I'm still quite early, so if anything does change my opinion, I'll come back and report. But right now, it's a recommend from me.
So what other platforms is it available on? You've got it on PS4, is it?
It's on PS4. It's also on Switch and PC.
Ooh, I bet you the Switch version.
Sorry, not PC. Xbox. Is it on PC? I actually have to check that.
Well, I don't. It's the technological specs
it is on PC.
Of it. Yeah, there we go.
It is on PC.
It needs all those extra 60 frames.
And Switch.
All of the 60 frames is what it needs. Cool. So, yeah, awesome. I might pick that up, actually. So, talking of things I've done picked up again. This is a game I've double dipped on because I did play this in early access on the PC. That's a game called Dead Cells, but I've picked it up for the Switch because it's guess what? A roguelike Metroidvania. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Hang on, I've heard someone describe it like that before.
Oh, I know, right? So sue me or fire me, I don't know.
Well, we might have to investigate this then.
Yeah, all right. It might be me. I may be doing journalistic wanking again, and I may be self-plagiarising. But it's out on the Switch. If you pre-ordered it, I think it was 19 quid, but if you buy it from the eShop Direct, it's 22 or 23, which is a little steep, you may think, for
There's
essentially...
a bit of a Switch tax on that, definitely, because it's like £20 on PSN right now.
But my God, this game is a great fit for the Switch. It's got a real pick up and play aspect to it, which, it's one of those games I think that's best enjoyed in short bursts. So the basic premise of the game is that you are an undead warrior who basically is trapped in a never-ending cycle of dying and then being resurrected, and you're exploring these dungeons and trying to get out. So the game features a bunch of upgrades, unsurprisingly, which you purchase using the permanent upgrades you purchase using cells, which drop from enemies you defeat. They're a fairly rare drop, so it's all about trying to make sure you survive and get through to the next checkpoint so you can cash in those cells. And you unlock new things to purchase with your cells by collecting blueprints that drop off enemies as well. And if you die, that's it. You lose everything you had on your person if you haven't cashed it in a between level little shopping spree you tend to go on. It's stylistically a wonderful game. The combat's really, really tight, a really nice mix of weapon types. You've got melee weapons, ranged weapons. Some of them have like random perks associated, so you can have like a bow and arrow that also flings a grenade out whenever you fire it as well, which is quite fun. And it's kind of stylistically, it's gorgeous. It's kind of really embraced kind of like 16-bit pixel art, and kind of really embellished it with some nice modern touches, like kind of volumetric lighting, God rays through kind of bits of the scenery in the background. It's a fantastic looking game, and it controls really, really well. If you've already got it on something else, probably it's not worth paying the extra money to have it on Switch. But if it's the first time picking up and think it's a game that may suit you, you may like the look of, the Switch is probably, I would say, the place to play it if you haven't got it already.
Yeah, I'm tempted, but I'm not sure it's my type of game. I'm curious.
Yeah?
I don't know.
I think you might like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think you might like it, mate.
I've heard it's very, very good. So yeah.
It is excellent. It is truly excellent. It is a great, great game. But the problem is the amount of money it costs on Switch is going to be off-putting for some. I think 15 quid would have been a better price point, I'm not going to lie.
It did get a 9.7 from IGN, so it's clearly worth it.
And also from also got a 9.7 from Boomstick as well, funnily enough.
Really?
Yeah, I know, amazing. No, it really is a very, very good game. It is probably the best. It's the best one of these since, I would say, kind of Rogue Legacy.
Okay.
That's high praise.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's a great game. If you like your stylish action platformers with a bit of procedural generation and all that jazz, this is definitely going to be the one for you. Do check it out. Really, 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 very, very good. and they've it's come on leaps and bounds since its early access days in the PC. So a really, really good indie game. So go check that out, I say. And I did just say and stuff, but otherwise I've just been playing Moving House and it's bloody tedious. And I'm sure you don't want to hear about that. It's like real life Tetris, but with all the boxes.
Does it have the music?
When I start losing the plot, yes, it does. Just going around the house going da 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 da. Happy place. Going to my happy place. Happy place. Don't like moving. Anyway, I think that's it for the show, isn't it, guys?
Yeah, pretty much.
I think we're covered.
That is done that. But not before we remind you that Tuesday's a Tuesday. Tim, tell me about Tuesday being a Tuesday this coming 14th of August.
Well, yeah, if anyone that doesn't know, each and every Tuesday we host an event called Tabletop Tuesday in the Loading Bar in Dalston, and each and every week we have a different feature game. If you play that feature game that evening, you have a chance of winning a copy of the game at the end of the night. And this week's feature game... Oh, well, actually, just quickly before we move on to that, last week we had Bez of Stuff by Bez coming up and showing her games, and thank you very much for doing so. Always a good time, and yeah, that went down very well. But no Happy Mondays, Bez. No.
So no melons were twisted.
No. Happy Tuesdays.
Happy.
And this week's feature game is a really nice looking board game. It's supposed to be pretty good, and it's a game called Ikweza, I think. How would you guys pronounce that? What do you think? I don't know.
Ikwazu.
There is also an accent on the U that isn't present. It's supposed to be
is it like a hat accent? A kind of
Grav, I believe.
A Grav accent. Ikwazu.
Is it French or Mexican?
I think it's made up.
No.
It looks a bit Avatar-y, basically, the land that it's set in this game. And yeah, it's kind of a worker placement game that's got a kind of modular board that's like a waterfall. Looks quite interesting, looks quite pretty. Should be a good game to come along and a good prize. If you join us this 14th of August in the Loading Bar in Dalston, if you want more details, they are on the top left-hand corner of BigRedBarel.com. Or on our Meetup group, you can search for Tabletop Tuesday on Meetup.
Mm-hmm. I've got no idea how to pronounce that. Ikwazu. I kind of want to go Mexican with the accent. Ikwazu is another alternative, but definitely not Mexican. But anyway.
I thought that was your Mexican attempt, and I was going to tut, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to do... No, I think we all know what my Mexican accent would sound like, and I'm not going to go there. So, for the shout-outs, we'd just like to say thank you to a couple of people. From the forums, I would like to say thank you to Stealthy Joe and Stingo.
From Twitter, I'd like to thank Richard Kirk and Spencer H.
Is he H from Steps?
Yes.
Excellent.
Is he? Really? Wow. Interesting. Oh.
You muppet.
I didn't actually think it was H.
7, 8.
I just hoped. Did we actually get the Facebook updates?
Sorry, there's some on the...
Oh no, but like, were they the ones from this? Because I left those from last week when I was doing the editing.
So no, we don't have Facebook.
So no Facebook or YouTube updates. Boo!
I thought you were the kind of guy who'd climb every mountain high.
Facebook has stolen all the data on the people that said hello.
Do you know what you should do, dear Med?
Yes.
You should follow your heart's desire. Is what you should do.
Really? I need to go onto a YouTube
and then every
playlist
dream will come true.
Jeez.
I'm not going to live this one down.
Yeah, I know, right? I've never heard someone sound so genuinely excited about perhaps knowing someone from Steps. Oh, is he really from Steps? No, dear man. Unless he is. I
cut
don't know.
Me deep.
What?
Yeah. You cut me deep. I could have known a celebrity.
I'm kind of slightly wishing I just let that play out now, rather than call you up and I just want to see how deep you would have gone with it. Never mind. Anyway, that's your lot, ladies and gentlemen. That is a show, and we are done with said show. So thank you for listening, as always. Make sure you head on over to www.bigredbarel.com/internet/YouTube/net. and go and find all of the things that our Bounties website has for you. We also lurk on YouTube, Facebook, and all kinds of other places as well, so make sure you head on over to those. So, yeah, that's it. Episode 304 done and dusted. And we're going to go now. So, I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
I am a H fan, apparently.
Yes, you are. Yes. And there's nothing really I can say to make you feel better about that, dear man. That is the right response. Well done. So, until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
You and your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
To BigRedBarel.com
for more podcasts,
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarel.com.